Hey everybody, it's been a while. Haven't had a lot of time to do these live feeds, but tonight I have the time, and with all the things that are going on, um, I felt it was very important to take the time to talk about something very important. And the purpose of this conversation tonight is talking about sometimes we have to fully be in it with certain things that happen in the world in order to truly understand it. And when things get really gnarly, we pull away and we know how to change it. How does that apply? How does that apply to what's going on right now? I've been thinking a lot about what's happening with Helsinki, the whole journey of President Trump, the policies and the backlash, the absolute hate that's been going on with that, and also in our own lives on lots of microscopic levels. So let's talk about that. I first, on the foremost, want to talk about Helsinki. There's a reason for it. I'm generally a cynic when it comes to people in power because those that gravitate towards megalomania, which global powers are all about megalomania, there's a certain personality that is attracted to that conversation, and they inherently don't have the well-being of other people. It's very difficult for someone who is a megalomaniac who wants to burn the world. You think of that song, Tears for Fears. Everyone wants to rule the world, you know? People that have that mentality, for the most part, unfortunately, don't have a servant mentality when it comes to being put in that position, and they end up exploiting the masses for their own benefit. We've seen it for centuries, okay? So yeah, I can generally be a cynic when it comes to trusting people on a global level saying one thing that sounds really good, but their actions and the fruit of what they do does not coalesce with what they're saying. An interesting thing that's happened in the last year and a half with President Trump being in office, number one, the onslaught of just trying to destroy him is really over the top. I mean, like, really over the top. Then you find out the people behind who are trying to push this, okay? I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to liberals, I'm talking to conservatives, forget your labels. We're all people, okay? We're all just individuals trying to figure it out, right? When you look at the individuals that hide behind certain parties, okay, that hide behind marketing campaign, you find out what they're really about, who's really funding them, and why they are so incessant on destroying a certain person. And then first you think it's a game, you know, because we're used to the Hegelian dialect. We're used to everyone playing this reality TV in this world. But it got real. It got really real. And then there were real policies. Whether or not you've been following the CNN version, the BBC version, the PBS version, all those Media Matter versions of the truth, or you've listened to Fox News, or you've listened to Alex Jones, or you've listened to individual people like Honeybee or SGT Report, or you've listened to the Hagman Report, or, you know, there's so many different perspectives. The point of the matter is, there are solid policies that have come out in the last year and a half that have systematically set a chess, it's a chess game to shut down certain multi-billionaires who for a very long time have funded a lot of different things that create global chaos, that create war. And when there's war, people are in a poverty mentality and they're vulnerable and they get exploited. Right now, with Helsinki, I would like to think, okay, and I'm going to preface this with going, this is my own personal opinion, okay? It's my own gut. I really try to align myself with the truth and looking at what's going on critically. With Putin, if you follow his policies in Russia for the last 15 years, he has been systematically trying to destroy the Russian-Ukrainian mafia that has been trying to succinctly destroy their own country for a long time. And because he's done that, in the media, they've made him out to seem like a dictator. They've made him out to seem like he's this horrible person in the global, media. But point in fact, when Russia was destroyed with the communism, and then they put Gorbachev in there to be a puppet, if you look at the policies that happened in Russia in the 1980s and all through the 90s, the same people, the Soroses, the Clintons, the Bilderbergs, the British Parliament, whatnot, the Queen, whatever, they were drinking Russia's milkshake hardcore. There was so much corruption, there was so much mafia going on in the 90s in Russia. And when Putin got in office, he shut it down. And that's why they wanted to make him an enemy. I'm not saying he's perfect. This is what happens. Sometimes you have to be fully in it in order to understand it. And then sometimes there are people that change their minds and they have the balls to get themselves in a certain place where when their conscience is ready, they can make a move. And I think that that's what's happening. That's my gut. It's my gut. Yeah, Putin was part of KGB. If you're an outsider, how would you even know what's really wrong? You'd be clueless. Same thing with Trump. And I'm going to talk about this for a minute. This is just my gut. You can judge me, you can not judge me, I don't care. I'm just going to speak my thoughts, if that's all right with you. Let's talk about Trump. Let's talk about Donald Trump. So here's a young kid who grows up with his father making a lot of money by creating communities and housing in Queens, okay, in real estate, all right? So he already being born into this thing, he's not owned by anybody, okay? But he's in New York City, which is the quintessential center point of tons of corruption that happens in Western civilization. I've known this for years, that New York City is the financial tuning fork of what our energy goes to. And LA is the creative tuning fork that happens in our world that creates culture changers, okay? Unfortunately, for the last 5 decades, 6 decades, it's been tuned really negatively, okay? Yeah, I'm sure that he was fully involved with all kinds of different people that were creeps, 100%. And back in the day, they were selling it as that was the way to be successful, right? You know, that was the whole point. You know, you're gonna be a rich guy, you're handsome, you're making it happen, you're a womanizer, in a sense that, like, you know, women want to be around you. But something happened with Melania. This is my gut on this whole thing. And I think that sometimes you can have a really good woman behind you that can share her reality and share what she's gone through. And when you love that woman and you listen and you know that you have the power to be able to change something and you have the will, amazing things can happen. Let's talk about Melania for a minute, because I feel like this is the reason why there is such a push to stop human trafficking and sex trafficking in this administration. Melania was from Eastern Europe. Melania grew up poor. She went into the modeling world. And you know what really pisses me off about that whole campaign? When they were trying to throw her under the bus with her modeling things, the same people that were trying to throw her under the bus for what she had to do in order to survive, those are the exact same people that create that reality in the first place, that benefit off of that kind of crap. The only time they try to attack you is when you're trying to change it. As long as you're going with it, they won't say anything. Melania was a young girl and was very beautiful. And this happens over and over and over and over again. They get told, in order to be successful, use your beauty, become a model. But what they don't tell you in the public industry or the public eye is behind closed doors with this whole modeling industry, it's a cover for escort services. It's a cover for prostitution. It's a cover for exploitation. And I know 100%, especially with what she'd gone through, she saw things. There's no doubt she saw things. And when she married Trump, don't you think they had private conversations about that kind of stuff? Don't you think that there was a reason why she chose a really powerful man to get married to? And there's something about Melania that I've noticed. She's 100% against what she saw and what she was experienced and what she had to go through. Sometimes when you're fully in it, you know exactly what's going on, and then you change your mind and you want to fix it. So what if there's a possibility that Trump changed his mind? Yeah, of course, years ago. I'm sure like you know, with the whole Billy Bush thing of being like grabbed by the pussy, whatever. That's guy talk. Every guy talks like that on some level in order to feel, mostly when you're feeling secure about your manhood. You know, you want to say those kind of things. But in reality, when you're standing up for the human trafficking and the sex trafficking, and you're shutting it down, and you're creating policies against the exact people that have been exploiting it, and they're trying to destroy you, we need to wake up to this. the same thing that happens with me personally. Like, I get a lot of crap from people that go, well, you say that you're Christian, but you're involved in all this other stuff with music and whatnot. We're not supposed to live in a bell jar. I can't live in a bell jar. We go out in the world every single day, and we get involved with all kinds of different things. But I believe that my energy, what I can bring to the table with whatever situation I'm in, you show kindness, you show grace, you hope for those opportunities to be able to lift people up rather than tear them down, right? And when you're fully in it and you see what's going on, that's the best way to understand how to combat it. You're not going to understand anything if you keep yourself in a bell jar. You won't know anything. So that's my message for tonight. People are freaking out right now about thinking that now Trump is a Russian spy and all this bullshit. Look at your own lives. Are you only friends and connected with people that think exactly like you? I mean, let's get real here. I'm not friends with anyone that thinks exactly like me. I'm a weird person. I think very outside the box. But I have a lot of different friends from a lot of different backgrounds that I truly care about. And I don't isolate myself from people simply because they don't think like me. That's crazy. And then how are you supposed to engage with that kind of conversation? You're in the world, you go through all kinds of different things, especially in the arts and in music. For me, as much as I don't do music anymore for personal reasons, I'm very much attuned to knowing that sound is the highest form, music is the highest form of art, and there's a reason for that. Because it immediately tunes you in heart to heart. Music can make you feel immediately sad, angry, fearful, depressed, joyful, hopeful, inspired. It has the ability to create all of those different emotions and those different inspirations, those different tuning forks. And what I'm hoping with all the different folks that I know and I care about and I believe in their work, I believe in them as people, I believe in them as artists, I believe in them as musicians, no matter where they're at, because we're all at different places in life, just like the higher echelons. We're all at different places in our reality and what we go through personally. And we can go through pain. We can go through heartache. We can go through sadness. But here's the thing. Music has been hijacked for a long time to only tune the masses in to feeling depression, anger, hopelessness, disparity, cynicism, death, loss of, just loss of faith. On the independent scene, imagine you can talk about your pain, you can talk about all the things that you go through, but when you really recognize the importance of, at the end of the day, the message that you're going to put out there in the world, and you know that your audience is going to tune into that. And we see so many kids that are suicidal. We see so many young people that now feel hopeless. We see so many people that are wrapped up in lies and disparity and depravity because they think that's reality. Through music, through art, through the news, through spins of politics of people that make money off of exploitation of people feeling loss. What if the new punk was hope? I think it is. You look at Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer right now is a huge voice in trying to destroy Trump. Look at his niece. That comedian. What is she pushing? What does she talk about? What is she down with? What's Chuck down with? They're nasty people. They're nasty. You gotta wake up and know that there is such a... I've seen a lot in the 90s. A lot of the kids, there's a reason why the first punk movement was really involved in rage and self-sabotage and drugs and anger. And a lot of the masses got tuned into that because we were all hurt by a lot of crap that was going on. And it just felt natural to be able to express that. But I watched a lot of friends die. I watched a lot of friends grow old too soon. And the only thing about becoming old, it's not natural. It just means you're losing your energy. They were in their 20s and they looked like they were in their 50s. I watched people lose their hope because they fully tuned in to just this only conversation. And a lot of the guys that were involved in the punk movement, they were abused as kids. Sexually, mentally, emotionally, physically. That was the whole concept in the first place. Well, what if the new punk was to bring joy and not pass the hot potato, but to go, I know what it was like to grow up in that environment, and I want something better. I know what it's like to be fully immersed in the insanity of Hollywood. I know what it's like to be fully immersed in the complete corruption of politics, and I want something better. I know what it's like to be high up in companies like Nestle, Monsanto, biotech, the universities that push. You know what the universities push right now that is really making them the money? It's not education. It's a complex. They want all the kids to have some sort of social complex, an inferiority complex that will make money. They don't want them to be strong. They don't want them to be wise. They don't want them to be self-efficient. They don't want them to be entrepreneurs. The new punk is fighting all of this. And if you go back to 2007, 2006, when the whole hipster thing was starting to happen, the truth of the matter is Nobody was down with the Bushes or the Clintons back in the day. That was establishment. What happened? Why the frig are people why the frig are people aligning themselves so hardcore with establishment when they consider themselves anti-establishment? Are you kidding me? It's fashion. The masses have lost their way. Because back in the day, in 2006, 2007, when that whole hipster thing was going on, the whole point of originally the hipster thing had nothing to do with fashion. It had everything to do with being just simply independent and owning your own community and changing everything you wanted to see in the world first in your own community. And I can say that for a fact, that that's what was going on in Jacksonville. And point in fact, a Hillary Clinton connection out of Portland was someone who was trying to bring a Walmart right into 5 Points to destroy every single local business and all the cool community individual energies that were going on there. There were so many amazing people doing their own thing, having their own store, creating an amazing environment that was so unique to that area. Rather than every time you go into a different town, it's the same thing. You got a Walmart, you got a Target, you got a Chili's, and you're done. That's bullshit. That was the whole point of becoming hipster back in the day, was not the fashion. The fashion was just a clothing expression of an inherent feeling, an inherent independence of being your own self and being able to do in the world what you truly were supposed to do, and not feeling that you had to become a pawn or a cog in a system of a global network of multi-conglomerate entities that always drink the milkshake of everyone. Does that make sense? Those are mafias. They don't want you to have clean water, even in your own community. They don't want you to have your own ability to create your own business. They want you to be part of what they do. Is it possible that these things are changing? Yeah. Am I putting all my weight on President Trump? No. I'm putting my weight on my own thoughts and what I believe is freedom. And I want my leaders to align themselves with that. And if they change their minds and they screw us over, well, they're going to be held accountable. That's how we should be thinking. Not blindly going, they need to fix it all for us. No, we need to know what we want. We need to know what freedom is. We need to know what we want to be able to do in this world and know that it's possible. And any leader or any community leader that tries to destroy that, they get taken down. We're brought into this world. I truly believe this. Every single person is brought into this world to create something new for just the right time that they brought into it. And we need to allow them space to be able to do that. Not confine them into a debt society that stops them from being able to explore who they truly are by the time they're in college, because they're indoctrinated. They're told what's more important than themselves, their own thoughts, their own explorations in this world. And then they're given a huge dollar amount by giving a certificate of saying that they matter in this world by having a college certificate. But the only thing that the college certificate has given them is anxiety and a inferiority complex. And inferiority complex is not power. It's the opposite. And I wonder if maybe that's why we hate strong leaders now. Why do you hate Putin? Why do you hate Donald Trump so much? And why do you love Hillary Clinton? Think about that. What the fuck? Why do you sometimes hate me when I talk? Get it? Sometimes we have to be fully immersed in a certain reality in order to understand it fully, in order to be able to change it. So those of you that sometimes get weirded out by someone like myself that may be in different realms that you wouldn't feel comfortable with, well, I like to hear from the horse's mouth what's really going on. And this is what happens in the media school. It's middle school. Things are changing, and it's good. I feel a freedom that I haven't felt in a really long time, like in the world. And I hope that you feel that too. And we'll see what happens. So, all right. Peace out. Good night. I'll talk to you guys soon.